Thank you, Mr. Saneem. For postal vote applications, you had highlighted in a press conference that you're expecting 23,000 applications, but just 9,916 were received. Are you concerned about the response?
That is what I started with. Let's look at it this way. In 2018, we received about 11,000 postal vote applications. 9,000 postal votes came back. So if you put this year's figure, which is 9,916 over 11,000, that's a drop of about 22%. And it should not only be me who is concerned, rightfully so, everybody should be concerned.
Well, that's a fact now that postal vote applications have closed, so we cannot be looking at those numbers. I noticed in a press conference, most of them were people who are likely to work on the day. And that was the concerns that were being raised about employers to make sure that they give time to their workers to go and vote.
How will an employer give time to their workers? Let's look at it this way. We put the perspective of Suva, where a lot of people come to work, but people live in Nosori, people live in Navua. They come and work in Suva. Suppose a business is to open from 9 o'clock on election day, which is a public holiday, and since it's a public holiday, then the workers are entitled to double time. Now, with double time being paid, suppose a worker is getting paid $5 an hour, they're getting $10 an hour. If the employer says, I will give you 2 hours off, what are the chances of this employee making that trip back to Navua to vote? Or making that trip back to Nanduri to vote? That's highly unlikely. What they will instead do is move out of the workplace, go and sit somewhere comfortably, enjoy some TikTok, watch some Netflix, 2 hours later come back, because it is not practical for us to imagine that somebody will take that 2 hours to go to their location. Now, what would be more practical is if businesses decided that it is election day, it comes only once every 4 years, let's close for half the day. We will start after midday. I mean, the option was there. If an employer is adamant that I should open at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, your employees did not apply for a postal vote. This event comes once every 4 years. What is the chances an employer can say, I will open after midday? In 2018, Vijay, you and I had this discussion once. There were more people sitting at a particular hotspot than at the polling stations in Suva on that particular day. Now, this is where we need to probably look back at our strategy, how to get more people to come and vote. And I disagree with you when you said that let's not look, it's a fact that it's 9,916 people have applied, and let's not look at those numbers.
No,
that is
I
the
didn't
number
say
we
that.
have to
Mr.
look
Saneem,
at.
I'd like to clarify that.
Yes.
I said it's a fact that postal voting applications have closed, and only 9,916 have applied. We cannot have that number increase as far as postal ballot is concerned.
Yes.
We're now looking at employers.
No.
Now, my question now.
Let me finish.
Mr. Saneem,
If
can I ask you the question to give clarification, because we have to move on from this issue? It's about employers, and are there any discussions expected with the employers to try to, for example, they start half day?
So you cut me off in the middle. I was getting to this. The point is this. When the election day was announced as a public holiday, there were a lot of inquiries made with us about the operations on the day. One of the things I can tell you is that we had, prior to the election date being announced, we had done consultation sessions or awareness sessions with at least an expected amount of people. 23,000 was the number that we expected from Fiji itself to be able to apply for postal voting, because they worked in the tourism sector, they worked in the restaurant industry, they worked in the essential services, hospitals, they were the nurses, the orderlies. These are people who are needed on the day. So when we did this, and the number came to 9,916, that should give you some indication around what can be predicted on election day. And if we have to come up with a strategy, we have 13 days. I cannot go and force any employer to not open on the day, right? Employers have agreed that yes, if we open on the day, we are going to give staff time off. But I'm telling you the practical side of the time off that you will give and how much time off should you give. And I mean, once every 4 years. I may sound unreasonable right now when I'm requesting employers to consider this. Perhaps open your businesses after 1 o'clock.